Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Melissa, and if you have been with me for a little bit, then you may have noticed that I have not filmed and uploaded a video in a while. And to be honest, that's just because I have not been able to find the energy outside of work. If you have any teacher friends, check on us. We are not okay this year. We are kind of doing double duties at the moment. So in my district, we have students who are still virtual and we have students who are in person. And so we are trying to find the time to teach them both. And I also have been asked to take on the role of another class as well. So just check on your teacher friends. We are not okay this school year. So on today, I am actually going to show you guys how I've been making some extra money with very minimal effort. Today's video is going to be about how to make some money in the stock market. So before you click off of this video, bear with me for a minute. You do not have to be an expert to start making money in the stock market. Furthermore, if you have money just sitting in the bank, then you are leaving money on the table, and you definitely should start considering trading in the stock market. It does not take a ton of time out of your day, and I don't believe that it requires a ton of knowledge about stocks just to get started. Before we dive too far in, I want to say don't focus so much right now about being a full-time day trader. Those sorts of thoughts are going to overwhelm you with the stock market and make it so that you have analysis paralysis and you never get started. So that's kind of where I was for a long time. I would see some friends and see my dad trading in the stock market all the time and making money, and I just never jumped in and did it because I was focused on such a big picture that I just never could dive in. But imagine if you could just add, for example, $100, $125 a month to your income. That could replace your phone bill, for example. Or maybe jump a little bit ahead and imagine if you could earn an extra $100 a week with just a few clicks of some buttons on your phone. That would give you an extra $5,200 a year if you could consistently make that extra $100 a week. And it is possible, and you don't have to be an expert. So here's my quick disclaimer before we get started. I am not an expert. This is just me sharing with you how I have recently, within the last few months, started making consistent income off of stocks. That's income that I wouldn't have if I didn't just jump in and start learning. So a lot of people invest in stocks and they are hoping for a long-term growth. So maybe they buy stocks today and in a couple of years they will check their accounts and they will see some growth there. That's what a lot of people do. That's long-term investing. I'm more interested in swing trading. So if you don't know what that is, basically think about if you bought a stock today and it was $100 and over time that company grew. And so in a couple of years, you check the price of that stock and maybe it's at $200, $250. So if you take the difference, $250 versus $100, which is what you bought the stock at, then you made $150 off of that stock. With swing trading, it's a little more exciting to me. So imagine if you bought that same $100 stock. Well, tomorrow it might raise up to $115, and then the next day $118, and then it may slide back down to $102. There's constantly movement. So with swing trading, your goal is to sell at a profit and then buy when it hits the low point again. So in the example I just gave, maybe you buy it at $100 and sell it when it hits that $115. And then it may go back down to $102 at some point. Your goal would be to buy it again at a low point, $102 now, and sell it when it hits $118. So you're taking the little profits along the way. You're taking that $15 and that $18. Whereas a long-term investor buys it today and doesn't touch it for a year or two. And a swing trader will take all the little profits along the way. So with a long-term investor, maybe you make $150 over a year or two, but with a swing trader, you might take $18 here, $15 there, $20 the next week, etc. So gains are smaller along the way. However, there is a lot more room to make money with that stock if you are kind of keeping track of the highs and lows and buying and selling along the way. Now, before I go in and show you my strategy, which again is super simple and you can definitely do it, I want to mention that you may see a lot of YouTubers recommending Webull and Robinhood, and that is because they get a kickback anytime that you sign up using their link. They get some free stocks. And though that would be great, and I would love some free stocks, I'm gonna be honest, the app that I use is TD Ameritrade. In order for me to get any sort of kickback, you guys would have to use my link and put $3,000 or more into your account. So I know a ton of people probably don't have $3,000 or more to put into their stock investing accounts. But I'm just trying to be honest with you guys and show you that that is the app that I currently do use. Now, I do use Robinhood occasionally, and the reason I use Robinhood sometimes is for cryptocurrencies. So if you've listened or heard about any of the hype with stocks lately, lots of people are investing in Bitcoin or Dogecoin, and those cannot be bought on TD Ameritrade, but they can be bought on Robinhood. So I am going to put my Robinhood link for you guys down below. Those are the only stocks that I invest in on my Robinhood app. And I do just quickly want to mention really quickly about cryptocurrency and all the other hype stocks. So AMC, what's the other one? I can't remember. But basically, I would not suggest jumping in and purchasing those just because they're kind of hyped up right now, and maybe you can make money on those, but they are really just a gamble. So the methods that I want to show you guys are a little bit safer. So as you guys know, the stock market is always going to be a gamble. We can't predict the future, and so it is a little bit of a gamble regardless of what stocks you choose. But again, with the strategies that I'm going to show you guys, it's a little bit safer. So I just wanted to put that little disclaimer out here that I wouldn't suggest just trying to see which stock is the hyped up stock at the moment. I would suggest putting a little bit of research into a stock before you purchase it. So before I show you my strategy, please take a second to like and subscribe if you have not already. And now let me show you my strategy. So the first thing that I like to do is look at the tabs at the top, and I use the chart button, and I'm looking at the chart from 1 year. And so what a lot of people do is they look at the low point and the high point. So in this case, the low is down here below 35, so somewhere around $31. And you can see the high is up here around $58. And so what a lot of people do is they try to wait for those lows and highs to hit, whereas I like to go somewhere in the middle. So for example, I can see that this stock is hitting $37 pretty often. It's hitting $40 pretty often. For a high point, it's hitting $55 pretty often, or even around $50 pretty often. So those would be more of the lows and the highs that I would choose. So not the very lowest and not the very highest, but somewhere in the middle. And that just helps ensure that you can actually get in and out pretty quickly. And then I kind of just compare it to the 6-month chart, the 3-month chart, the 1 month, and the 5 days, because that's just giving me a more accurate view of how it's currently trading. So for example, in the last 5 days, you can see it still hit in between $45 and $46. And for a high point, you can see it hit around $51 pretty frequently. And that's again, just because that blue line is hitting the $51 price point pretty often. So if I were going to trade this stock, then I might go ahead and set a buy order around $45.50. I might even set it for $46. And then I would go ahead and set a sell order for around $50 or $51. So again, I'm not going to wait for it to hit its very, very highest or very, very lowest. I'm okay with getting in at a low point and not necessarily the lowest point. And I'm okay with selling at a high point and not necessarily the highest point. So again, it's not rocket science. I basically buy low, sell high, but again, I kind of take some other things into consideration. I look at the last 5 days, the last few months. I get a feel of price points that stock has hit. And I don't try to be greedy and go for the super lowest or the super highest buying and selling points. If you stick somewhere in the middle, then you're able to get in and get out a little more quickly. You might not get as much money from the stock, but I'd rather take less gains from a stock and know that I'm able to trade it more frequently and get back in and get back out and take what I can take than to try to hold off. So what you would do is click trade, buy, and the key here is the type. So a market order is an order that goes in right away, basically. If you want to know more about how that works, I will link a video up above. I'm not going to go into exactly how it all works, but basically it would buy it as soon as the market's open on Monday morning if I left it at market order. Now you can see there's lots of different types of orders, and again, I can link a video that explains those, but usually I set it at a limit order, which basically allows me then to say, okay, get me into this stock whenever it hits $46, and then you can say how many you want, and then usually I will change the expiration to GTC, which stands for good until canceled. So this order will live on my app until I cancel it or until I'm able to purchase the stock at $46. And you can review order and place order. So it's super simple. Now I'm going to go back. Let's say I have already placed an order to buy this stock. Then you can also place an order to sell the stock. And again, I like to make sure I do a limit order. I don't do a market order because again, that means that I would sell it right then, whatever the current price is, and the price is constantly changing. So I want to make sure that I sell it when it hits, for example, $50.50. I make sure it's good till canceled and then place that order. So a lot of people avoid trading stocks because they think you have to watch the market at all times in order to really buy and sell at the right time. And that's just not true. So if you know about the different types of buying and selling orders, which is the limit order that I just showed you, then you're able to go ahead and place your orders and put your phone down. You don't have to watch the market at all times. So it really can take you just a few minutes a day. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, well, if I'm only making $2 or $3 or $4 off of a stock, why would I do that? It's not worth my time. And the answer there is just you would buy multiple quantities of the stock. So let's say you're making $4 a stock. Well, if you're able to buy 100 of those, 100 times 4 would be $400. So I do only suggest investing what you are willing to lose because again, stocks are not guaranteed. A stock could drop drastically during the day, and with limit orders, you're not guaranteed for that order to go through. Again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this video explaining the different types of orders, so the difference between a market order and a limit order. Again, I'm linking a video so you can kind of watch that to get the full explanation of that. But a limit order is just, in my opinion, much safer than a market order. But you still should just invest what you're willing to lose. Also, I highly suggest sticking to your plan. So again, with the Zoom information stock that I just showed you, the way that some people would mess up is they would buy low. Let's say they bought at $46 and their original plan was to sell at $50. Well, when it hits that $50 mark and they see their growth and the money that they've made, they decide to hang on to that stock and they think, oh, I think it's going to go up to $55 this time. They hang on to their stock thinking it's going to hit $55, and now they're going to get out at $55 instead of their original plan, which was to get out at $50. And then they miss that swing. It ends up going back down to $46 and they have to wait again to cash out on their profits. So I highly suggest just sticking to your plan. Another thing that might be obvious is a lot of times people who make a lot of money off of stocks, it's because they are buying stocks that are cheaper. Maybe it's a $3 stock instead of a $50 stock. So that allows them to buy even more quantities. So even if the stock is only going up a little bit, let's say it goes up 30 cents, well, you're able to make even more money off of that stock, even though it's only going up 30 cents because you bought more quantities of it. But usually stocks that are priced at very low points, like $3, they're not as safe as stocks that are priced higher. So stocks that are priced higher, the reason they're able to charge more money for their stocks is because they are usually a stronger company. For example, I've traded Amazon stock. Amazon stock is in the $3,000 range. Now we all know that Amazon shouldn't go anywhere anytime soon because we all use Amazon very frequently. So they are able to charge much more for their stocks. A lot of people get really excited about penny stocks because you can literally buy a ton of shares of penny stocks. So a penny stock isn't necessarily a penny, but it's usually a very cheap stock, like under $1. So again, you can buy a ton of shares for it. So for example, if you did buy it for 5 cents and it went up to 10 cents, well, you just doubled your money. So it can be very exciting, but it's also pretty risky. So another reason why I love the TD Ameritrade app is because if you go to the overview tab, you can see which exchange your stock trades on. So for example, the exchange here is the NASDAQ. So that's important because there is something called a pink sheet stock, and those are not safe. So let me show you. So this stock right here, LTCN, you can see it is a pink sheet stock. I'm pretty leery about pink sheet stocks, and you should be too if you are just now getting started with investing in stocks. And really just anybody should be leery of pink sheet stocks because basically they are not trading on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange for a reason. So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but basically a pink sheet stock is usually a company that only exists overseas, and sometimes it's not even like a real company. It's literally a company that exists on a sheet of paper. They made it up, and there's no building, there's no actual business. It's a name on a sheet of paper, and they are calling it a business. So you can make money off of pink sheet stocks, and I've actually traded that stock that I just showed you and made some money off of that stock. But the risk is, again, it's not a real company, which means that it could end and dissolve at any time and you would lose that money. So that can happen with any stock. A business could drop and go out of business, but it's much more likely to happen with a pink sheet stock. So you definitely can make some money, and usually those stocks are pretty volatile, which means that they change in prices, go to highs and lows very frequently. So it's a little easier sometimes to make money off of those stocks, but it is a huge gamble. So definitely trade those at your own risk, and always just make sure if you are looking for stocks to trade, always just kind of check the exchange that it trades on. Next, I want to tell you about a few of the trades that I have made money off of, just to show you that it is possible, it does work. So going back to the stock that I showed you guys, the Zoom information stock. So when I first discovered that stock, I bought it for $47. And 10 days later, I sold it for $53.55. So that's a gain of $6.55. Now that's all I made on that stock because I only bought one. Usually I try to only buy 1 or 2 shares of a stock just to test it out. And then once I get comfortable with how it's trading, then I'll go in and buy more. So imagine if I would have bought, for example, 100 shares of that stock. If I bought 100 shares and made about $6 on each one of those shares, that would be $600. And all I had to do is look at some charts and hit a few buttons on my phone. One other thing I wanted to tell you is about taxes on your stocks. So if you do not hold a stock for more than a year, then you do pay whatever your regular tax bracket is. So for example, if you fall into the 15% tax bracket, then you're gonna pay 15% on your stock gains. So I keep an Excel sheet and I usually just look at it at the end of the week and put what I bought and what I sold, how much I made, and how much that is after tax. Another trade that I'll tell you about that I did was with Amazon stock. So as I mentioned, Amazon stock is much more expensive. I started by buying 1 share of the stock for $3,073. And again, I sold it 5 days later for $3,172, and I made about $84 on that. And that's just money that would be sitting in my bank account if I weren't doing this. So it's definitely a good way to put your money to work for you. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about one more trade that I have done, and that goes back to that stock called LTCN, which is a pink sheet stock. So when I first bought it, I didn't know it was a pink sheet stock, or I didn't know what a pink sheet stock was yet, but luckily I did make money on it. So I bought it for $195.99. And again, sold it 5 days later. I sold it for $321. And after I figured out my taxes and stuff, I made $106.26. So again, I'm happy I did that because otherwise that money would just be sitting in the bank, not doing anything for me. So one stock that I'm looking at trading this week is a stock with the ticker EARS, E-A-R-S. It is a cheaper stock. It moves about 30 cents. I'm only gonna buy it if it goes down to $3, and I'm gonna hold it until it hits about $3.30. Again, I'm just gonna test that one out for now before I dump more money into it. I just kind of wanna see that I can get in and out of a stock before I buy multiple quantities of something. I'm also hoping to buy Shopify this week. So it's at a lower point right now, $1,099 as I'm filming this. And I'm thinking I can at least ride it out until it gets to $1,143, which is only a $44 gain, and it is on the expensive side. But again, I'm just kind of testing that out right now. So hopefully this video just gives you some encouragement to start. Again, the wealthy have multiple streams of income, and this is a stream of income that anyone can do with very minimal effort and very minimal time. If you don't have any extra money to play with right now, then I completely understand that. Consider doing maybe a few more signings and looking at some of your expenses and seeing if you can cut down to start saving just a little bit so that you can have some money work for you. So hopefully in this video, you learned a little bit about market and limit orders, how to find the low and high points of a stock, or the buying and selling points of a stock. And hopefully you know now what a pink sheet stock is. As I mentioned before in the video, I am going to put my Robinhood and TD Ameritrade links down below. I think we both may get free stocks or something if you use those links. I'm not really sure. That's not the purpose of this video, but if you did want to use those links, I would greatly appreciate it. I think that is it for this video, guys, and I will see you guys soon. Bye, guys.